Hello everyone, my name is Jesus from GDev Tech, where we talk about growth, development, technology. Today I'm going to go ahead and do a redo of a WordPress theme for Laurel Simone. Now this theme has already been built with WordPress, but I am going to go ahead and redo it with FoundationPress. This is based off of Foundation 6, and I've already worked on it a little bit, but I just decided to go ahead and do this last minute, kind of walk you guys through this and show you how I develop a theme in WordPress. So let's get started here. I'm going to show you guys what I have so far. And so this is what I have here. And the concept or the site that we're going to so here's what it looks like now. Kind of give you guys a there's some things broken here, but we're just gonna ignore that. So navigation is supposed to be here. You can see a little drop down menu there, and there's some Instagram clips, things like that. So we're gonna redo all this again. This was already built and found in WordPress, and we're just gonna redo it so it kind of looks like this. Here's the front page. There's also going to be a splash page, kind of like this little enter site. So when the site first loads, and this is actually going to be the last thing that I'm going to build. This enter site. Right now I'm going to be doing all the home page, which is going to be, this is going to be the front page, and then all the inside pages, and kind of walk you guys through this process here. So I've done a little bit of work already on the front page here. This is what I have so far. So if we look here, we can see that there is kind of like black little space there, and black space there, and black space here. So my idea would be to have it animate and kind of like slide in as so, like that. Now these are going to be the same width, so it's going to be probably cover that much, kind of that much and that much, and then we're going to go through that here. So let's erase all that. So that is what we're going to be doing here. I've worked on it a little bit. Like I said, here's kind of like what it looks like now. When you hover over it, kind of like fades in. I don't like that. I want it to actually have that animation that's going to the right. So we're going to work on that. Again, this is FoundationPress. If you do a quick Google search, you guys can download their theme. It's available for free. It's just a repository that's on GitHub. I'll go ahead and post a link after this, a live stream down below in the description. And let me switch over here to my code engine. So I have Yarn running. If you guys don't know what Yarn is, it's a package manager such as npm, and this comes with a readme, which is actually very good. So it gives you a whole from step one all the way to get this theme started. So right here, instead of npm start, I'm just going to type in yarn start, and should be up and running here. As soon as it, well, that's weird. And it's running slow. There it goes. Guess I should have started this before the fact. All right. All right, so let me show you what I have so far. So far what I have created is, jump back here. All right, so if we look into WordPress, this is a normal WordPress start, getting started, all that good details. I created the theme, it has a screenshot already, has everything already set up. What I've done so far is created what's called a custom post type, and that is LS tiles, and these custom post types are going to be for the inside pages like the portfolio and these little tiles here. So the reason why I created this custom post type is because I don't want to go ahead and do it under post, because just in case they want to do a blog or something like that, they can still use post for those blogs. And yes, I can go ahead and categorize and just use a different category for these tiles, but I think it would be a lot easier just to have them separate. So we have LS tiles as a custom post type and LS tile categories as its taxonomy. And that's why we have these two things. Also, I've created a custom field where you can go ahead and add a new row, and this will actually be your tile. This is actually just going to be for the home page, and then I'll start theming the inside pages for LS tiles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you here. You guys have it's the title, test, and overlay color. All right, so if I switch this to right and I say update, then I go over here to this page and I refresh. Now it goes over to the right. Now there's no animation there because I haven't worked on that yet. So I'll switch that back over to the left. I'll hit update and refresh. Now, as you can see here, here's color on this image here, and that's because I've used in CSS what is called a filter, and I just did a grayscale on it. So any image that they upload with color, it's going to go ahead and do a grayscale. Now I believe there's some compatibility issues with Internet Explorer using the filter CSS property. So for this, I mean, they can just grayscale the image and then re-upload it, and that's going to be for compatibility issues there, which I'll let her know to go ahead and do that. And what's real cool, so if I keep adding this, I'll do another one and say hello YouTube, then I'll do add an image. We'll just do this one, and then I'll link it to devtech.co, and I'll hit update. Now these are actually going to go to their specific page, so whatever taxonomy or whatever category that they want, they can just copy that URL and paste it in here. That's why it doesn't open up in a new tab. And here we go. We got hello YouTube there. So every time you add a new row, it's a new tile basically that gets added in there. So I'm just remove that, update, and refresh here, and that goes away. So now we're back to test name. So right now we're just gonna work on this little fade issue here. So let's jump back into my code editor. And here we go. So I am using a methodology called BEM for CSS. Definitely recommend you guys looking into that. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it's easier and it avoids a lot of issues with with specificity issues. So if you ever done a exclamation mark important on your CSS, that's because there's some specificity issues and you had to override those issues. So I'll jump into a little bit here. So as you can see, we have my first class, which is called ls tile wrapper, and that's my block, right? That's going to be my block, and then that's going to be the element is the wrapper, and then modifier, which will be these little dashes here, and then I have specified an overlay color field, which is the left or right. So whatever they select, if it's left or right. So let's go back on my CSS. So we have ls tile overlay dash dash left or right. And then if you're using Sass, you can just use the and symbol, and then it'll basically grab this, and it's like if you're doing that in CSS. So that's pretty easy there. So just do the and symbol, and then it'll basically grab that other property and append it together. So yeah, so let's work on my sliding left here, just because we just have a fade. So this, we're just gonna have it slide left. Right now what I'm doing, if we inspect this element here, is I am just using a linear gradient, and I'm actually setting the background to that. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead, and since this is position absolute, what I want to do is I want to say left -100 pixels. Oops. Pixels. Actually, can we do percentage in here? Yeah, we can. That's weird. Why is it not? Oh, there you go. So normally, wow. So normally this would be a lot quicker, but I set this to 500 seconds or 5 seconds, and that's why it was super slow to animate in. So I'll do 200 milliseconds, and then now if I keep lowering down this percentage, we should see it animate in. You can see it here on this area if you keep your focus on this. Watch. As I keep lowering it down, then it actually fades in. So that's what I want to do. My concern is when I do right, because this block element, it's going to be, here I'll actually show you guys real quick. You can see how it moves that block element over to the left. Now if we do it to the right, there's going to be an overflow issue. You'll see that all the way in the bottom to the right. So that's my concern. So a way to work around that is I will need to then target this wrapper here, and I would say need to do overflow hidden, right? Once I do an overflow hidden, then it's gonna, there won't be any of that overflowing scroll thing there in the bottom that we just saw. So that's kind of like that fix there. So let's do that. Let's play around with this here. So if I jump back into, just refresh this. Let me jump back into my code editor. So we have the left, we have a background linear gradient, absolute, we have the width, blah blah. So if I do a left, so initially the left, it's going to start off at let's do 50%, -50%, and then on hover left will be at 0. Again, my wrapper will need to have an overflow hidden. Save that, and this is also going to be for that right. So, right. Actually, it needs to be left. %100 there. And then this one will do -50. I think that should work. Alright, because we're moving it over, so let's see what you're looking at. So every time I save, by the way, this code editor, it refreshes. So I don't have to refresh because it's connected to browser sync, as you saw. But here it is. So if you hover, then that fade goes away, which is not what I want. I want it to and that is why. So let's look back in my code editor. So I have this set up. I want to do 250 milliseconds. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. On hover, it moves, or at least it's supposed to be at that 0%. I actually don't want it to cover the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, that's weird. So this is what I got going on now. So, right, hover, has this little, I don't know, it feels glitchy to me, but it has this little nice fade. I just don't want it to, what I want is I want it to stay dark, push it out. So let's do this. Actually, let's switch this around. And then I want this to be 50%, just like that. Now, so here's my code. What I changed, it's kind of, I just switched it around. Did the left at 0% initially. That way it's full colored in. And then, there you go. I just did a negative on hover. So on hover, then it pushes that out halfway. Let's do 1/4 of the way of the whole width, and let's see what we get. So now if I hover over it, actually that's kind of like that. So I don't know if they want a little hover animation or not, but this is kind of like what I think I'm gonna go for. It feels too intense though. I'm switching it down to 15. That feels way too intense. Okay, switch it down to 10. It looks a little bit better. Yeah, so we're good there. Actually, I feel a little bit better with that. And let's go back to images. So we have front page. still need to get this font type. I forgot what font type they said. So actually, I need to email her and get the font type. So I'm gonna be, yeah. So I just need that, which it's not gonna stop the development process at all. It's just gonna be another quick little email. But yeah, so I think I'm good where I'm at now with these tiles. I just now need to do the right. So if I change this over to right, say update, refresh this. So now there's no animation, so let's go back into the code. This is gonna be pretty simple. It's basically gonna be like the same thing. So on my right modifier, we are gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So for this, we're gonna do right at 0% and then we'll just do a simple transition to all 250 milliseconds. I just wanted to ease in and out. Now with this all, the reason why I'm saying all is just in case if there's other things that need to go in there. But basically you can do left, or you can do background color, and you can be a little bit more specific on what element you want to go ahead and transition. But I'll leave it like that for now. And then here I'll just do and hover. So on hover state, I want my background to, actually, why do I even, what did I do? I'm trying to remember why I did this. I don't think this changes anything. Actually, it does. It changes the middle section. So when you do a linear gradient, you have 3 colors. You have your initial color. So this is from the left to the right, which means from starting point, want this to be this color, and then the middle, and then ending. So start your color at this, what's going to be the middle, and what's going to be towards the end of that. So I'm just going to copy that, and this is going to, the middle is going to change to 10%. And then again, that's why I did all, just so I can target this background too. And then I will do a right of -10%. And all right, so let's take a look at this here. Boop, not bad. Actually, it's pretty good. Kind of, it's annoying me, this font size. Let's do that for now. 32 pixels on the font size. Yeah. Yeah, why not? So let me go back to my code editor, and that's going to be targeting the title. Here it goes. So here I'm going to say font size. Let's do 32 pixels. All right, and I'll just leave that there. And let's go back. So now that looks a little bit better. So here we're gonna do left and right, and we'll do, where should you put tutorials. Tutorials, and add an image. Do the same one. this, refresh here. Now we have test name, and we have editorials. Oh, look at that. This is fun. So what's happening here is when I hover over this text, that whole animation that we just did disappeared. So you see that? Hover over the text, it's gone. When I hover over here, it's good. Gone, good, gone, good. All right, so I have all this wrapped in an anchor, so why? That's why. Okay. It's a z-index property. Because now if I switch it to 1, still. This is position absolute. And overflow hidden, the link, got the background image. Yeah, by the way, I'm using the Flexbox for these, just so it can center my text a lot easier, and I don't have to worry about that by justifying content center and then aligning item center. Yeah, this should have been a z-index issue because it's being position absolute. And this, oh. So z-index 2. And this one will be z-index 1. Then the text is gone. That color, because I'm putting it in the bottom of that whole thing. That fixes that issue, right? Anywhere that I hover over, it's fine. Yeah. Okay. I am gonna worry about that later. But this is basically I should get, once you hover over any of this, it should be fine with the text as well. I'm gonna be able to come up with something here. Then we have the navigation. Actually, let's go ahead and do the navigation here. So this default navigation. I think once I'm done with the navigation, I'll go ahead and just cut this video as well. Just like I said, it's kind of like a last minute thing. I haven't really uploaded anything in a while, so I just want to kind of just give you guys something that I've been thinking about doing. So it's live streaming. See how this goes. But yeah, so you can see the navigation here. Let me kind of zoom in. Wow. Okay. So pretty simple. Simple navigation there. So yeah, so let's do that. Let's do the navigation and see if we can get into a little bit of mobile stuff. So let's jump back into the code. And I am going to jump into the modules directory, and we're going to go into navigation. Let me close all these tabs out. So we have our navigation, and then I'm going to open up my header.php. And what I like doing is I like just doing them side by side, kind of like this, so I can see what I'm working with. And with Foundation or Visual Studio Code, if you press, I think it's Alt-Z, then it wraps your text. Right. So hit Alt-Z and I wrap everything around. So if we look into our site navigation, we can see that we have a class that's called main nav within our site header. So we're going to do the same thing, and we're just going to go ahead and convert this into BAM here. So this here, this whole navigation is what comes with FoundationPress, and how they style it and stuff like that. But I don't want to use none of their styles. So the real reason why I use FoundationPress is just something quick and easy that's already developed and something that you can use right out of the box. And it already includes Foundation 6 as well, which I can include their mixins. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I like this. Trying to determine if I want to go ahead and redo all this and or not. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's just work with what we have here. So we have our logo. Actually, I did style this here. I was not using BAM. So yeah, let's go ahead and style this. We have our logo with and top bar. So here's top bar. Oh, kind of just want to redo it now. Yeah, let's do it. Let's redo it. So I will call this let's call it main. Let's call it main navigation. Let's do main navigation. Navigation. And element. Actually, we'll just leave that. Just do main navigation, just like that. Which I think that's how I want it to be. Alright, because in the main navigation, it's going to be all of, see the logo and then this area here. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna redo it. That's fine. So yeah, we'll just do main navigation. And we'll just do. So this is what's the hardest part, is just coming up with different naming conventions. Just do logo and we'll go just do it like that. So just do main navigation, then we have the modifier, or not modifier, the element, logo content, and then the logo. So the custom logo is a WordPress function which actually brings in the logo that the customizer uses. And if you guys don't know what the customizer is, let me go back. Again, it just refreshed, so that's why it looks a little bit messed up, but kind of see where I'm going with this. So the customizer is something that WordPress has. It's where you can just edit whatever you need. So the logo. Also, by the way, FoundationPress does not include this, so I'll show you guys how to add this logo here. But yeah, you cut your site title, tagline, and then little fave icon that you can add for the top. And now all this can be like you can actually customize your own customizer and have your own settings and things like that. And if you just do a quick Google search on WordPress customizer API, whatever, and it gives you a whole, like, it walks you through a whole prior part on how to create your new tile or tabs or whatever you want to call them for your customizer settings. So that's pretty cool there. And yeah, that's what the customizer is. So I jump into my code. I'll show you guys how I did this here. So inside of your FoundationPress, if you go into, no, it's not template part. If you go to library and you go to theme support, all I did was added this theme support, custom dash logo, add theme support, custom dash logo, and this gave me that ability to add it. So if I go ahead and comment that out and I save it, and then I go back, and then I go back to customize, and in customize I go back to site identity, I no longer have that. So if I go back into my code and I uncomment that, save it, go back here and refresh site identity, then I have that again. So that is pretty simple on how to do. Let's just say add theme support. Once you add that theme support, then you can use WordPress's function that says the custom logo. Now when you use this WordPress function, it's going to bring in its own class name, which I think, and we can jump back to verify, it's called custom logo. But it adds your anchor tag and everything here, so you can see it's a custom logo link. So I wouldn't be able to add this into using BEM. Now there is a way where you can go ahead and change this, and actually let's see if we can get this doing now. WordPress custom logo support. Might as well just do it. Right. So theme logo. So we can do this where we can just grab the URL of the image. So if I copy this and go back into my editor, and I'm just going to do it on header.php. I can actually just paste it in here, and this will get the theme mod custom logo and the image, which I will do logo, and here I will do logo, and cut that, save that, go down here, and I'll paste it right here, and then I'll say save, and then I will go back to the site, and you can see it, the URL all the way up there. So now if I go ahead and say image, if I go in here, and I will do an image tag source, and alt, just leave it blank. Now we have, sorry, let me switch you guys over to the code thing. So this is what I changed here. I just added a image source. I echoed out that URL. I placed it within the source. And here's the alt tag. Now right here in the alt tag, what I can go ahead and do is if I go back into the customizer, appearance customize, we can go ahead and call in the site title. And let's do that. Let's do WordPress echo site title. And oh, cool, right there. So it's just, we can just do site title, site title. You can just go down here. Description. Here it goes. It's going to be name. So it's just running this function that's called get blog info, and then running in a parameter that says name. So if I go back into text editor, I can go ahead and do get blog info, and I will say name. Now if I save it and go back to the site, say inspect element, so there is no alt tag. Refresh this page. Hold on. Should refresh. There's still no alt tag. So let's go back into the code and get blog info. Actually, it needs to be echo. Get blog info, and let me go back to the site, and it refreshed automatically, and you can see the title right. Whoa. Not what I wanted to do. Right there. So we got alt and the title, or also no. So everything looks good there. Now what I have to do is, let's go back into the code real quick. Still got 15 minutes here. We haven't even done this. See if I can get this done real quick. Close that out. All right, so we have main navigation, logo content, and this one is going to be called main navigation menu. All right, main navigation menu, because it's going to bring in the menu items that we have here. So I will save that, and we'll go back into our CSS. So instead of this being top bar, it's going to be main. Whoa. Main navigation, and then here it's going to be and logo. So now if I save this, I got main navigation and logo. Let's switch back over to here. So this should I know why. I know why. So, if most of you guys are familiar with CSS, it's usually cascading this way. We don't want it to cascade. We're just going to do and logo content, right? So we have the logo, logo content. Save that, and I think that's it. And let's go back to the site. So we have, let's inspect this. So we have main navigation logo, width is 100, main navigation logo content, and that's the problem right there, because I forgot to change this class. So let's go back, close this out, let's go back to code editor, and it's gonna be this one. So now if I save it, go back to the site, let's review. It's still big, it should be max width, and there is no max width. Why? Navigation logo content. Let's look at the code again here. I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing, but copy this. It looks the same. There you go. Now if we go back, we can see it is back like it was before. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and jump down to this menu. And then I'm not going to redo all these. This is yeah. Yeah, we're just going to have to work with this. Alright, so here basically what I'm going to go ahead and do is, because we want the text to be, where's my, right, we want everything to be centered. It's a lot easier to use Flexbox on this. So we're going to go ahead and do display, flex, and do align items centered. I don't have this, it's just a block, so it's a flex, display flex, line items, and justify content is going to be centered. So far so good there. And another thing that you can do is you can go ahead and set this to display I think if you do display table and then you do table cell, it kind of like aligns everything to the center, but we're just going to use Flexbox for this. So let's go back into our code and implement that. So here we got main navigation, and then we have our class, which is the end menu. We're going to do display flex, justify content center. I mean, there really isn't no other items, so we'll just leave that. Save that there. Look back into our site. And we have this items align. So font needs to be bigger. Way bigger. Way bigger. So let's do that. Let's do a font size of I think 21 pixels. 24. 26. 32. So we'll do 32 pixels on that. And that's because of the text. You can see some are longer, but they're very thin. So I think 32 would be fine. I just need to get those font size. So we're going to leave it at 32. Let's jump back into our code. And I'm just going to go ahead and just call it UL here. So UL, again, this is all cascading now at this point. I'm not gonna go and redo all this BEM, but that was kind of like a small little intro for BEM. If anyone is familiar or want to get familiar with BEM, that's kind of like how you would do it. So I'm gonna do my UL and LI and my anchor tag. And then I will say font size 32 pixels. Save that. And that should work. Alright, it's menu, main navigation, menu, and I got my top bar. So if we look back into the code here, let's see if I can increase the size a little bit. So this is what I have going on. Here is menu. We have main menu, great, everything's good. Then we have another class, and then li, and then my anchor tag. Now if we look here to the right of this, you can see where I'm calling my style and it's not being called in because this main navigation nav has more specificity than this, and that's because it has an additional class. So now in order for me to override this, and instead of me calling UL, I'm gonna have to call menu. So let's go back into my code and please the specificity world by saying menu. And now if I go back, and then it says, okay, you have more specificity than they do, so we're not gonna worry about your font size. So that took away their font size and it puts my font size. Again, this is why people like using BEM, just because of that specificity issues, and people like, a lot of people are kind of just like using that and kind of want to get away sort of, from cascading, just because it just brings a lot of issues, especially when you're using frameworks and things like that. That's also a tough one. Like, if you would build a site from scratch and you can just do it all in BAM methodology, then that'll be great, because now you have more control over that layout. But either way, this is fine. So we're good with that. You can see there's these little lines that we need to get rid of. And I don't want. So what's causing this? It looks like it's probably like a border right on the LI. And it is. So this is what they did. Not last child. Okay. So now we would have to go ahead and do pretty much the same thing to override that. So actually, yeah, let's go here, and my LI will have and not last child. And then we're going to say border right none. I think we can do none, or so let's go back here again, and it's still there, and that's because we have it's still there. Main navigation, menu, LI, not last child. This has more specificity than mine. So, which I have no idea why. Class, LI. Okay. Well. What if I just do this? Border right now. So basically, I just, instead of putting it in not last child, I just kept it as border right now. So, you know what? There is, let me jump back into the code here. So there is an area in FoundationPress where they have all the settings. I wonder if the menu nested items, if they have where you can set it to false, background color, nope, I don't see anything. Menu, item padding, simple margin, state back compat. Drop down arrows, drill down menu, forwarding menu. Nope. So they don't have it. So yeah. And that's what's annoying. Kind of wanna, you know what? Let's do it. This is too much of a headache for me. Whoa, what happened there? So I'll just save that. I don't know what happened there. So let's, real quick, we're going to go into navigation, and we're going to jump into, what is this called? FoundationPress top bar R. Foundation top bar R. That's just going to be here. It's saying drop down menu is going to be the class. And actually, you're not going to be the class. What's going to be the class is going to be I'm going to leave this drop down menu there, but this is going to be the class here. And then we're calling it what should we call it? Main navigation. Menu is kind of like the wrapper. Desktop menu. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll call it desktop menu. Why not? So save that. And we'll go back here. And we can see everything's all messed up, but that's fine. Because if we go back into our code, we're gonna go and take a look at this, and we're gonna change a lot to our class. And desktop menu. And we're going to say list style is going to be none. And I'm writing over here on my CSS on the right, and we're going to say list style none. We're going to set position relative because we have some arrows that's going on with FoundationPress. And what else? I think that should be it. And then we can then target our li and then our anchor. Whoa. Li. Actually, we don't need this. Deleting that. And then I can do my anchor, and then I can say font size 32 pixels. And then I can say not first child. Whoa. Not first child. And border right will be none. So if we go back here, okay, so we don't have the bullet points. Now I just need to get my LIs in order. Okay. So LI And then what I want to go ahead and do is I want to say margin right. I think I want to do 15 pixels, kind of keep them separated. Let's do probably about 60. That's about fine. Yeah, so let's do 60 pixels margin right. So let's go back into the code and border right none. That's good. And then we're going to say display inline and margin right. It's going to be 60 pixels. Now, what I'm also going to do is say and last child margin right. It's going to be 0 because I don't want the last one to actually have a margin. So now if we look at this, so let's go back to our code or the website. So now if we look at this, we can see the first line has a margin. You can see it in orange right there. It's like an orange. And then second one, margin, except the last one, which is because we have that last child. Margin right is 0. So that looks pretty good. Now this color, so it's all caps, and the color it looks like it's white. So we'll go back to the code, and we'll do color white, text transform uppercase, and let's go back to the site, and there it is. So about to end this stream right now, right when it's over, but I want to put in some sort of little hover effect. So we are gonna do that. So let's go back into the code real quick, and let's do and hover color and then Visual Studio Code. If you just hold your mouse there and we want to change that opacity to 2.5. So now if I save it, actually no, let's do 8. It's super blind. Oh, let's look at the site now. So, looks alright. Actually, I could do a text shadow. We'll do the text shadow in part 2's videos, but just added basically a hover effect and did change the opacity of the color. So when you hover over it, that was done. And if we look at the site, kind of get it all resized. And this, we're going to fix this so it doesn't display anything. and there's the mobile menu there. So in part 2, we kind of might as well just tackle in the header. So we'll work on that on our part 2 and kind of get that going. Again, this is kind of just like a quick little live stream that I'm doing, and just want to kind of get the site going and get this finished here. So want to bring you guys into this WordPress templating thing yeah, so thank you guys. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them below. If you like this live streaming, just go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ask me any questions, and thank you guys so much for watching.